So here we are again on a, what is it? Wednesday night. Wednesday night.
Wednesday,
We have a
June 3.
small but
June-
powerful group tonight, I guess. We had a big group last night. Tonight, small but powerful, right?
Yes.
Only the good students are here, right?
Yes.
That's right. That's right. Small but powerful tonight. Now tonight we're going to I want to review a little bit about what we talked about. Oh, it was like the second week of the class, long time ago. We were talking about cause and effect. I want to talk about that a little bit at the beginning, and then I want to go into something new tonight, which is the opposite of cause and effect, and that is contrast. Because they're very similar, cause and effect and contrast, because they all use the same four kinds of connectors: clause connectors, prepositions, transitions, and conjunctions. So we're going to review those again. We talked about them a long time ago. Wow. I don't even remember when. Let me see, when did we talk about cause and effect? This will be an exciting view down memory lane. Let's look at my folder with all of my videos in it. Let me see and see when we talked about cause and effect. Let me see here. It was, let's see, cause and effect was, it was April 16th. Oh my goodness. Holy cow.
That's a long time ago,
April
huh?
16th. I don't even remember April 16th.
Many weeks ago, huh?
Yeah, that was a long time ago we talked about it. So I think it's worth mentioning a second time, right? Since we talked about it 6 weeks ago. All right, so let's talk about that first, and then we'll transition and talk about the opposite, which is the contrast. Okay, so let me open up the board here for a second and remind you about cause and effect. Okay, can everybody see the board?
No.
Not yet. Yes.
No.
Yes.
See the board? Okay. Cause and
effect.
oops, having trouble tonight. Cause and effect. There we go. All right. Now remember, when we talked about this way back when, we discussed there's 4 different types of connecting that we can do. We can use a conjunction. And the conjunction for cause and effect is so. Right. I was hungry, comma, so I made a sandwich. Right? We had that. That was in, I think, chapter 8. Yeah, I think was it chapter 8 or chapter 9? I'd have to check. It's either chapter 8 or chapter 9. Chapter 9, I think. Cause and effect with so. Right? Then we also had a clause connector. And the clause connectors were 2. Because and since. Yeah, since was the one that was in the book this time. Because was in the book in level 3. The one we learned in the level 4 book was since. So, since I was hungry, I made a sandwich. All right. And then we had a preposition. And the prepositions were due to and because of, exactly. And I could say, because of my hunger, I made a sandwich. Notice what did I do in that one? I changed the subject and verb to a noun. Instead of saying I was hungry, I said a noun, my hunger. Hunger is a noun. Hungry is an adjective, but hunger is a noun. All right. So you have to use a noun with those prepositions, right? And then finally, we had the transition, which are the longer words like therefore or consequently. And for example, I was hungry, period. Consequently, I made a sandwich. Now, my example is very artificial because I would never use consequently with sentences that are that short. Remember, I usually use a transition word to connect longer ideas. I use a conjunction for short things and a transition for longer ones, right? It's just a matter of how long the sentence is. If my sentence is very long, I'll use a punto and a consequently. If my sentence is very short, I'll use a comma and so. So my example with consequently is very artificial. Nobody would ever say that. Usually the first sentence has to be a little bit longer than 3 words. Like when you have 7, 8, 9, 10 words in your first sentence, then you can use consequently. All right, so that was what we had way back on April 16th. My goodness, holy cow. So we had those 7 words. So, because and since, because of and due to, and therefore and consequently. 7 words, right? Do you need some time to write that down, or are you okay?
I'm finished.
Everybody got it?
Not yet.
Yes.
Not yet? A little time? Okay.
One more minute.
Hello, Armando. Is he there yet? Is his sound on? Good evening, Armando.
Okay. Yeah. Therefore.
He might be there, maybe not. All right. Everybody got it?
Yes.
Oh, there he is. Hello.
Yes.
All right. Can we go on?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, good. So let me stop that share for a second. Say hello to the new people who are here, who I haven't said hello to yet. There's
Hello.
Isadora. Hello, Isadora.
Hi, hello, Mr.
And Armando's here. Hello, Armando.
Hi, Mr. Wade. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
David
Hello.
just
Hello, Armando.
arrived.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. We were complaining that you weren't here, so we're glad you're here now. Now, maybe the teacher was complaining.
I was finished my test.
No, okay, all right. Oh, you did the test? You did both parts?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
How was it? Okay?
Very.
It could have been
In the
better?
end, it was kind of hard. It was
Yeah.
kind of hard because it going too fast.
The listening?
Even though they repeat 2 times.
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
true. There's a lot of information in those listenings.
there is some words that I was not sure what was it. The words. The first time
Okay.
that I heard.
All right. Well, I will take a look at your test and see how you did. We won't announce your score in front of everybody. We don't want to embarrass you. All right. But I'm sure you did fine. I'm sure you did fine. All right. So
I have my score.
yeah, I know you know your score already, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? And 10 is excited, and 0 is miserable. Where are you?
18 and 11.
You're at 11.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it was very, very good.
You were happy. Okay, good. Excellent.
Thanks to you, Mr. Wade. You have
Okay.
taught me very well.
Oh yeah, my level 6 students. Do I have how many level 6s do I have here tonight? let's see, Ching, you're level 6.
I.
Okay.
Me.
Yeah, level 6 students, please tell me if you are interested in staying in ESL next year, or you're interested in going to the next stage, to going to the academic program next year. Let me know what you want to do next year.
I
Okay.
want to stay.
You want to stay in ESL? No problem.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so we can make either thing happen, but just let me know what you want, because I don't want to push you. I don't want to push you out of ESL if you don't feel ready, and I don't want to keep you in ESL if you feel like you're ready for something new. But like I said, I don't. But you want to know about the reading class, right?
Oh, it's only
Yeah.
reading class?
Well, I'm gonna let me talk to Miss John tonight after the class, and I'll see what exactly classes are going to be offered. Yeah.
Because I read every day in the ecology.
Uh-huh.
I don't need to go to the reading.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. I'm not sure what the classes are going to be for next. I think everything is sort of a mystery right now. But the superintendent made an announcement, but he didn't say anything one way or the other. He made a long speech today, but it sounds like probably in August we'll still be online for a few weeks at least. Maybe until October. Who knows? I don't know. So we don't know. I don't know anything for sure, but the superintendent was making a speech, and it sounded like we probably aren't going to start in August, but I don't know. He didn't say for sure one thing or the other thing. So anyway, all right. So, okay. So anyway, welcome new people who just arrived. If you came a little late, you missed our review from April 16th. We were reviewing cause and effect, right? Cause and effect. The 7 connectors of cause and effect. All right. Now I want to look at the 7 connectors of contrast. There are more than 7, but I want to focus on an equal number tonight. Okay. So let me share with you, if I can, my contrast presentation. Okay, can everybody see the slide? Contrast?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to turn off the microphones for a second. And we're going to practice a little bit here. Okay, so contrast. When I say contrast, what do I mean? Well, it's basically the opposite of cause and effect, right? A cause and effect is when something happens that is logical, right? For example, it was raining, so I stayed home. That's cause and effect. But if we have a contrast, it would be the opposite of what you expect. It was raining, but I went outside anyway, right? It was raining, but I went outside anyway, right? That's an example of a contrast where something happens that's a little bit of a surprise, a little bit unexpected. When the result is unexpected, we have what we call a contrast. So let's take a look at how do we make contrast. The same way as we just had with causes and effects. Let's take a look. Contrast. In English, there are various strategies to combine a fact with a surprising result. Example, despite bad weather, the plane landed in Chicago. Although Josue is a US citizen, he never votes. Again, a little bit unexpected. We didn't have a map, period. However, we found the house. Sin embargo, however. Becky is a housekeeper, comma, but she would like to be a nurse. Right? Despite, although, however, but, these are contrast connectors. And each one is a little bit different. Let's take a look. Right? But remember, just like with cause and effect, we're going to use the same 4 ideas. Clause connectors. We're going to use the words although or even though. Prepositions. We can use the phrase in spite of or the single word despite. Conjunction, only one, but. And transition words, which are those longer words. And again, transition words are usually 2 words stuck together. However, nevertheless. But we don't say it nevertheless, we say nevertheless, however, right? They're 2 words, but they're stuck together to make 1 word. All right? So let's look at these again. It's going to be exactly what I just had on the board a minute ago with the cause and effect. Each requires slightly different grammar. The meaning is the same. The grammar is different. Clause connectors. Again, the most common. And how do I do it? I can put it at the beginning of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence. And each part of the sentence must include a subject and a verb. That's why it's called a clause. Remember, a subject and a verb is called a clause in English. So, the key words here, although, even though. Those are our clause connectors. So whenever I have although, I want a subject and a verb. Even though, subject and verb. Examples. Although Kendrick works hard, comma, he doesn't make much money. It's a little bit surprising, right? It's a little bit surprising. Usually if you work hard, you can make good money, but not Kendrick. Right? Although Kendrick works hard, he doesn't make much money. Or Kendrick doesn't make much money, although he works hard. Right? Notice I can put although in the front or although in the middle. If it's in the front, I need the comma. If it's in the middle, no comma. Aunque in Spanish, although. Even though I paid in cash, I didn't get a discount. Even though I paid in cash, comma, I didn't get a discount. I didn't get a discount on my purchase even though I paid in cash. I didn't get a discount even though I paid in cash. Right? We have a fact, I paid in cash. And a surprise, no discount. Even though I paid in cash, I didn't get a discount. And again, notice our commas. If I put even though or although in front, a comma is necessary. Now, is there a difference between even though and although? A little one, a little difference. The difference is when I say even though, it's maybe a little more surprising. Although is like a little surprise, a little contrast. Even though is like a big surprise, right? So for example, you say, although I studied for an hour, I didn't pass the test. Okay. Even though I studied for 10 hours, I didn't pass the test, right? Even though a little bit more than although. Okay, so those 2 are what we call clause connectors. What are the partners with cause and effect? Since and because. Since and because. Remember, we had cause and effect in chapter 8 or 9. Not chapter 9, I think it was. Since and so was in chapter 9. All right, prepositions. Preposition is the one that always gives people trouble because we do not use a subject and a verb with a preposition. Preposition plus noun preposition plus gerund. Those are the two choices. So, like clause connectors, prepositions can be at the middle or the beginning of the sentence. However, the preposition is only used with a noun or a gerund. But remember, a gerund is a noun, so it's the same thing. Keyword, despite or in spite of. Notice, one word, three words, but they mean the same thing. Despite or in spite of, where we have a fact and a surprise. A fact and a surprise. So, for example, despite the bad weather, the game was played. We have fact, surprise. Despite the bad weather, the game was played. The picnic was canceled despite the bad weather. Oop, that shouldn't be right. Hold on, let me fix that. I don't want to give you bad examples here. Let me go. Okay, there we go. Okay, back to business. All right, the picnic was held despite the bad weather. In spite of the bad traffic, I was early for my interview. I was early for my job interview in spite of the traffic. Right? In spite of, despite. And what's we need? A noun. A noun. Traffic is a noun. Weather is a noun. Despite, noun. In spite of, noun. Conjunctions, only one. We learned this one in level 1, but, right? When we make a contrast, we can use but, right? But and so are the opposites. But and so. I'm very busy today, comma, but I will go to English class anyway. I'm very busy today, comma, but I will go to English class anyway. Again, clause, comma, but clause. Subject and verb. Subject and verb. I took the medicine, comma, but I didn't feel better. Next Monday will be a holiday, comma, but I still have to go to work. Next Monday will be a holiday, comma, but I still have to go to work. All right. Notice I can use the word still, but I still have to go to work, or anyway, but I will go to English class anyway. So with but, we often use still and anyway. Still, anyway. Transitions. What's the transition we're going to use? We're going to use a transition with a period. Transition with a period, and as it says here, usually transitions to combine longer ideas. However, or nevertheless. Example. School buildings are closed for the rest of the school year. That's true. Nevertheless, all English classes continue online. Right? Fact, surprise. Fact, surprise. What is the surprise? We still have class. What is the fact? The English classes are closed. The school building is closed. Victoria worked hard, came in early, and did excellent work. Well, what do we expect? We expect that the boss will appreciate all of this hard work and coming in early and doing an excellent job. We expect that the boss will appreciate it. But look what happened. However, the boss gave the promotion to someone else, right? See how she's sad? Poor Victoria, right? She has a fact and a surprise. A fact and a surprise. That's what we're talking about when we talk about contrast. Facts and surprises. Fact and surprise. So here's the end of the presentation. Learning English isn't hard, but it's not impossible. Even though you don't speak English perfectly, your English will get better if you keep trying, right? So here we have but and even though. But and even though. Okay? No problem? All right. Now, I can't turn on your microphones again anymore because they changed the system. So if you could turn on your microphone, that would be great. We're going to do some practice together. Yeah, they changed the system, so I can't turn on people's microphones. I can only ask to turn them on. Okay? All right? Everybody ready for some practice?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Why not? Why not? Okay. So let's practice a little bit. Let me bring up a piece of paper here. We're going to do some practice. Let me see, get the board up here. Screen share, back to the whiteboard. Here we go. All right, I'm going to erase the cause and effect here. All right, oops, cancel that. Can everybody see the board? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, there
Yes.
goes the cause and effect. And let's go to, all right, contrast. Okay. Let's take two very simple ideas. Two very simple ideas. How about cold weather and went jogging, right? So the fact is the weather was cold, right? The surprise is I went jogging, okay? So let's see if we can combine them in different ways. All right, let's start with the easy one. How could we say this with but? But is the easiest one because we learned that way back in level 1. How do we make a contrast with but? First, we want a subject and a verb. So what could I say? The weather
Was cold.
was cold, comma,
But
but
we went join.
but I
We
went.
went to Japan. Well, I went to Japan.
Right? The weather was cold, comma, but I went jogging. All right, everybody agree?
Yes.
yes.
So we have clause, comma, but. Clause, comma, but. All right. How could we say the same thing with although?
Although
Although the weather was
Although
cold,
the weather was
Although the weather was cold, comma, I went
join.
jogging. All right. Although the weather was cold, I went jogging. Again, although plus a subject and a verb. Okay, sounds good so far. All right. How could I say the same thing with however?
the weather was cold. However,
The
I
weather
went jogging.
was cold,
Was cold.
What's my punctuation?
The weather was cold.
The weather was cold. However,
Period
no
or
comma.
comma?
No
Period.
commas.
Comma.
Period.
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 Period. Yeah.
However,
No comma.
However,
However,
Come.
I
I went jogging.
we could use a period, or we could use what we call a semicolon. Everybody knows what it is, a semicolon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember, semicolon is the one that's right next to the L on your keyboard. This one?
Yes.
Right. That's called a semicolon, right? So I could do the same thing like this. Right? Semicolon and a period are the same, except with a semicolon, no capital letter. All right. Anyway, you could do one or the other. Semicolon is not common in American writing. We use it one in every 100 sentences. We don't use semicolons very much.
They often use it in the books, right?
In
So
books,
like,
yeah, more often in books when you have very complicated ideas. Yeah. Yeah. Semicolon is good for connecting two related ideas that are a little more closely related than a comma. So here is a perfect case where I would use a semicolon, because a period is a little bit too much for just a sentence with 4 words. Anyway, you can use a period or a semicolon. Okay, and finally, this is the tricky one, the preposition. What about despite?
Despite the weather, the cold weather.
Despite the cold weather.
The cold weather.
Despite the cold weather.
I went jogging.
I went jogging.
Like, teachers, what does despite mean?
Despite is the same as although, except one is with a subject and a verb, and one is with a noun. It means something surprising happened, something opposite of my expectations. So for example, you could say, despite the coronavirus, many people are outside in the streets. Right? It's opposite of what I expect.
Aunque.
It's a contrast to what I expect.
Oh.
Right? I'm not sure how to translate into Spanish, but
A pesar de coronavirus.
a pesar de.
A pesar de la, despite is a pesar.
Okay. A pesar de. Okay.
A pesar de coronavirus.
Okay, there we go. So when you have a noun, right? When we have a noun, we say despite, and when we have a subject and verb, we say although. But the meaning is exactly the same. All right, let's try another one. Let's try another one. Leonardo, do you have a question, or did you just push the button accidentally? No question? Okay. All right. Example number 2. Let's see. Let's take another contrast here. How about, let's see. Let's see. Let me see. How about, let's see. Let's see. How about,
Therefore,
the train was crowded and I found a seat. Okay. The train was crowded. I found a seat. Okay. Let's start with but. How would we do but?
The train
The
was.
train
The train
train
was
was
crowded.
was
crowded,
was
comma,
crowded,
but
I
I found a
found
seat.
a seat.
But I found a seat. And we could put still in there too, right?
Okay.
We could put the word still. Remember, we can use still and anyway when we have but. The train was crowded, but I still found a seat. Okay? What about even though? Even though.
Even though the train was crowded.
Even though
The train was
the train, oops, the train was crowded,
I found a seat.
I found a seat, right. Even though the train was crowded, I found a seat. Okay. And what about nevertheless?
The train
I
was
found a
crowded.
seat.
The train was crowded,
Crowded. Period.
period.
Nevertheless,
Nevertheless, I found a seat.
¿Cómo?
Comma, I found a seat.
The train was crowded, period. Nevertheless, I found a seat. Okay. And the next one, let's see. How about in spite of? In spite of.
despite the train was crowded.
Now, remember, we need to change something here. In spite of what?
Oh, in spite of the train was crowded.
But we can't have was because that's a verb. We don't want to use a verb.
Oh,
We want to use a noun, right?
despite the train.
In spite of the train.
In spite the
What is
crowded.
in spite of
the train?
we could say in spite of the crowd.
Yeah, crowd. Yeah.
In spite of the
In
crowd,
spite of the crowd,
I found a seat on the train, right? Like so. Remember, with your preposition, you're going to have to change a little bit. You
Oh,
always have to change a little bit when you have a preposition. It always has to be a noun or a gerund. Right, I'm hearing myself coming back. All right.
Yeah.
A noun or a gerund with a preposition. Okay, you want to try another one?
yes.
Yes.
All right, let's do a couple more and then we'll look at the book. Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right. All right. The fact, good prices. The surprise, the store is not popular. The prices are good, but the store is not popular. Okay? All right. So, all right. How could we say it with but?
Okay.
So we could say the store
The store
The store isn't popular.
has
has
Good
good
prices.
good prices.
good prices, but
but
it's not popular, right?
Yes.
Right? The store has good prices, but it's not popular. Okay? We have a fact and a surprise. The store has good prices, but it's not popular. All right? How about even though?
Even though the store has good prices.
So, even though the store
has good prices.
has good prices,
No,
it's not
it's not popular.
It's not popular.
Right? Even though the store has good prices, it's not popular. Okay. All right. What about with in spite of?
Oh.
In spite of.
In spite of the
Ah,
in
the
spite
store
of
has
the
good prices.
in spite of
In spite
the
of good prices, the
the
store
store is not popular.
isn't popular. Good. Okay. All right. And let's try one more here. Last one. What about however?
However,
However,
Now
the
remember,
good
everybody, we
No.
never begin
Yeah.
with however.
Okay.
However is
Yeah.
always in the middle. So
The store.
The store
The
has
store.
the store has a good
The
has
store
good
has a
price.
good price.
period.
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 Even though.
However,
However,
comma, the store isn't
it
popular.
isn't popular. The store has good prices. However, it isn't popular.
Mhm.
Okay? All right. One last one. One last one, and then we'll stop our examples here for a while. And we'll look at the book. All right. Let's try one more contrast. All right. We have the fact, it's in a good location. And surprise, the apartment is cheap. Okay? The fact and the surprise. The fact is it's a good location. The surprise is it's a cheap apartment. You don't see that very often. Usually if it's in a good location, the apartments are expensive. But here we have a good location, but a cheap apartment. Okay? So how could we say it with but? So we could say the apartment
The apartment is cheap.
is
cheap.
No.
in
a good location.
a good location, but
But
it's cheap. The apartment is in a good location, but it's cheap. Okay.
Oh.
All right. What about nevertheless?
Okay.
Apartment
The
is
apartment
cheap.
Is
It's in good
apartment
location.
is in a
good
good
location. Period.
Nevertheless,
Nevertheless, comma,
It
it is cheap.
The apartment's in a good location. Nevertheless, it's cheap. Okay. And one final one. Let's see, which one haven't we done yet? In spite of.
in spite of the apartment is in good location.
In spite of
But
the
remember,
good,
with in spite of, we got to
in
change
spite
it to
of
the noun.
good location,
In spite of the good location.
In spite of the good location.
the apartment is cheap, comma, the apartment is cheap.
Period. So here we see 4 different examples of how to say the same idea. We have a fact and a surprise. A fact and a surprise. What's the fact? The apartment's in a good location. What's the surprise? It's cheap. Wow. What's the fact? The store has good prices. What's the surprise? The store's not popular. Huh. That's surprising. What's the fact? The weather was cold. What's the surprise? I went jogging anyway. What's the fact? The train was crowded. What's the surprise? I found a seat. Okay, you need time to copy all this down?
Yes,
Yeah, when
please.
Okay, all
1
right.
minute.
All right, I'll be quiet. Tell you what, I'm going to go get a drink of water, and you guys can copy this stuff down, okay? I'm a
Okay.
little thirsty tonight. It's a hot night.
Yes.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
¿Qué pasó? Everybody done?
Yeah, it's done.
All right, fantastic. Okay. Let's take a look then. Oops. At our ventures book. Let's take a look at that. Let me open it up here. Ventures number 4. Get that open. This is going to be in chapter 7. No, wait a minute. Chapter 6. We're going backwards. We were in chapter 7 last night. We're in chapter 6 now. Okay, let me see here. Let me find the share here. New share. Ventures 4. Okay, share. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go backwards tonight to chapter 6. We're jumping around a little bit because I want to cover these things just briefly before final test. We'll cover them in more detail next week, but I don't want you to have no exposure to this before the final test. So I'm going to go back to, if I can find it. Oop, I went too far now. There we go. Look at page 72. Can everybody see 72?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. We didn't have a chance to watch the video. I didn't send you the video before class, but let's watch it now. It's only a couple of minutes. It'll be a good review of although. Now, this one is focused only on although, but I want to stop the video from time to time and talk about different ways to say the same thing. Okay, so let me turn off the sound on the video so we can talk. Okay, and play the video. Can everybody see that video now?
Yes.
Clauses of concession?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Although clauses. Remember, although is a clause connector. So what does that mean? It means I need a subject and a verb. A subject and a verb with although. Notice what it says here. Use although to connect two clauses that show a contrast. The information in one clause is surprising or unexpected because of the information in the other clause. Although goes with the information that is known or not surprising, right? So for example, if I say, if I have, for example, he is 92 years old and he plays basketball every day. All right. What is the surprise there?
He is still playing.
He still plays basketball, right? That's the
He's still
surprise.
playing.
So I would put although with the fact. The fact is he's 92 years old, right? So although he is 92 years old, comma, he still plays basketball every day, right? Although is always with the fact, the thing that's not surprising, right? Just the normal information. And then the second part is what surprises you, right? The although is with the fact. The second part is the surprise. So here we have it. Here's known information. It takes 30 hours to drive from Denver to Los Angeles. That's not true. I've driven to Denver, from Denver to Los Angeles in about 16 hours. So that's not true. I don't know how this guy's going really slow. It takes 30 hours. Yeah, no, wait a minute. About 18 hours. It takes about 18 hours to get to Denver. Because I a long time ago, about 30 years ago, I drove from my home here in Los Angeles to my home in South Dakota. It was 36 hours of driving. 36 hours. I did 18 hours, went to sleep, 18 hours the second day.
It's too much.
That's crazy. Yeah. What am I thinking? That's too much driving. But anyway, it takes about 18 hours to get to Denver, but William refuses to fly. That's unexpected. So although it takes 30 hours to get from Denver to Los Angeles, William refuses to fly. William refuses to fly, although it takes 30 hours to drive from Denver to Los Angeles. Okay? So we use although with the fact. What's the fact? The fact is the time to drive from Denver to Los Angeles.
30 hours.
What's the surprise? William takes his car. It's a long drive from Denver to Los Angeles, right? And notice again, I can put although in the first position or although in the second position. Now, how could I say this with however? Whoops. Let me go back just a little bit here. Can I go back? No. All right. Can you say that with however? Do you remember it? Right? It takes 30 hours to drive to Denver. William refuses to fly. How do you say however?
How?
William
take 30 hours.
It takes 30 hours to drive to Los Angeles. However, he refuses to fly.
However, he refuses to fly.
Exactly. All right. Oops, what happened here? All right, now we're back to the same thing. There we go. Okay, so however he refuses to fly, or but he refuses to fly. Both would be fine. Okay, next example. Coming slowly here. I went backwards too far. There we go. All right, the known information. Jake sets his alarm clock every day. The unexpected information, in spite of this, he sometimes wakes up late. Okay, so what can we say? Here's my examples. Although Jake sets his alarm, that's the fact, he often wakes up late. Or Jake often wakes up late, although he sets his alarm. How could you say that with but?
Jake often
wake
up late and makes his
wake up late.
Remember, always put but before the surprise. So Jake sets his alarm every day, but He often
But-
wakes up late.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
He always wake up late.
All right.
He often.
All right, let's look at this one. What does it say? Address stampers are not electronic. Mrs. Rosen's favorite time-saving device is the electric stamper. Okay, and what do we say here? Although address stampers are not electronic, Mrs. Rosen's favorite time-saving device is her address stamper. What about nevertheless? How could we say with nevertheless?
Address stampers are not electronic.
Nevertheless,
Nevertheless.
it's Mrs. Rosen's favorite time-saving device, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the next one. I have an excellent
There's
computer.
the names.
Huh?
I can see the names, the people's names.
Oh, well, this one, it already went by.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Too late now. All right. I have an excellent computer. I still write my letters by hand. Okay. Okay. So let's say with although, there you see the two examples, right? Although I have an excellent computer, I still write my letters by hand.
I still
Write my
letters
letters by hand, although
until I
have
have
an
a
excellent
computer.
computer. Now, how could we
An
say
excellent-
this with despite?
Despite,
Despite.
Despite I
writing
have a
later,
computer.
Despite
I
having
still
a
have my
Now,
letters.
hold on 1 second. Can we say despite I have?
Yes.
No,
No.
No.
Remember, despite has to be a noun or a gerund.
no.
So I could
Despite
say
a computer,
despite
Despite-
my excellent computer,
my excellent
Mm.
computer.
I write letters by hand. Or I could say despite having an excellent computer.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Despite having an excellent computer, I write my letters by hand. Right? I can use that gerund, no problem.
Sharon.
A gerund or a noun. So despite having an excellent computer, I write my letters by hand. Despite having. That's what I would say in this one. Okay? Let's try another one. Oh, check your understanding. All right. This is the same thing again, so I'm going to stop the video there. Do we have a pretty good idea?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. All right. Let's look at it then as a practice over here. All right. Here you see the examples with Jake and William, right? With although. Although at the beginning, although in the middle. Remember, with prepositions and clause connectors, I have two choices. With conjunctions and transitions, only one choice. Conjunctions and transitions must be in the middle. With although, even though, despite, in spite of, two possible positions, right? In the middle, in the beginning. Okay, so what does it say here? It says, write the sentences. Which part is surprising? All right, and then use although in front of the part that's not surprising. So, Mrs. Sanchez can't operate the digital camera. She read the directions many times. The surprise is she still can't operate the camera, right? So Mrs. Sanchez can't operate the camera, although she read the directions many times. All right, the next one. Mrs. White's car has a GPS. Not surprising, many cars have GPS, right? But it's kind of a surprise that she always gets lost. So although Mrs. Wright has a GPS system, she gets lost all the time.
Like me.
That's you. All right. Now let's look at the next one. Mr. Green doesn't use his microwave. He paid a lot of money. All right. What is the surprise? That he paid a lot of money, or that he doesn't use it?
He doesn't use it.
Doesn't use his microwave.
That's the surprise. If he spends a lot of money, you would think he would use the microwave. All right. So What are we going to say? Mr. Green
Mr. Green
Mr.
doesn't
Green
use his
doesn't use
microwave,
microwave,
doesn't
although
although
he
he paid a
a
lot of
fee
money
for it.
for it. He doesn't use his microwave, although he paid a lot of money for it. All right. The next one says, email is fast. Mr. Chun doesn't like it. So what's the surprise?
Mr. Chang doesn't like it.
Mr. Chung doesn't
use
like
it.
it. What's the problem, Mr. Chung? Right? So what can we say here? We say, although
email is fast,
email is fast,
Mr. Chang doesn't
Mr.
like to
Chung
use it.
doesn't like it. Right? Although email is fast, Mr. Chung doesn't like it. Good. All right. I prefer to read paperbacks and hardcover books. Ebooks are very popular. Okay? So what's the fact and what's the surprise? The fact is ebooks are popular, right?
Ebooks are very popular.
Okay?
Mhm.
So how would we, which one do I put with although? Should I say although ebooks or although I prefer?
Although
Although ebooks,
Although ebooks are popular,
are very popular,
I prefer to read
I prefer
paperback
to read
cover books.
hardcovers
hardcover books.
and paperbacks. Right? Even though ebooks are popular, or although ebooks are popular, I prefer to read paperbacks or ebooks. Now, here's like a big bonus. Can anybody say this with despite?
Despite?
Despite. Yeah, can you do it?
Despite.
Okay.
What is the noun of popular? How do we make popular into a noun?
She
Popular is an
refused.
adjective, right?
Yes.
Popular is
Refused.
how do we make popular into a noun?
Fine. Trouble by plane.
No, I'm talking about number 5. I'm talking about number 5.
Oh, number 5.
Despite?
I'm talking about 5. I want to use despite.
Oh, and number 5.
Despite.
Number 5.
Yeah. So I said that popular is an adjective, but can we make popular into a noun? What's the noun of popular?
Ebook.
No. Ebook is a noun, but I want to turn popular into a noun. How can we do that?
Oh.
What's the noun form of popular?
Famous?
No.
No.
Popular.
Popularity?
Popularity.
Oh.
Right? Popularity.
Popularity.
Popularity, right? So if I was going to say despite, this is what I would do. I would say, despite the popularity of ebooks, I prefer to read paperbacks and hardcovers. Despite the popularity of ebooks, I prefer paperbacks and hardcovers. That's a tricky one, right? Remember that the noun. Whenever I have despite, it's always going to be a noun. And the noun of popular is popularity.
Popularity. Yeah.
Popularity, right? Popular is adjective. Popularity is a noun. Okay, anyway. Ms. K had urgent business 1,000 miles away. She refused to travel by plane. Oh my goodness. Okay, so how can we say although?
Although
Mr. K had urgent business.
Although Ms. K had urgent business 1,000 miles away.
Refuses to travel by plane.
She refused to travel by plane. Now, in this case, what would you do with despite?
Despite.
But what's the noun?
Despite refusing to travel?
No.
She refuses to travel despite her urgent
business.
No,
or something.
despite she
Right.
refusing to
Despite
travel.
urgent business 1,000 miles away, right?
Yeah.
Despite urgent business, right? You see what I did? I threw away the subject and the verb. I just used the noun. Despite urgent business 1,000 miles away, Ms. K refused to travel by plane. Despite urgent business.
Okay.
I threw away the subject and the verb. Remember, we always use a noun with despite. Now, good news, if you are level 5 or level 4, despite is not on your test. You don't have to worry about despite. All right. All right. Let's see. But if you remember, if you were taking Ventures level 3, do you remember Ventures level 3? In Ventures level 3 book, there was because of, right? And they practiced because of noun, because subject verb. It's the same thing with despite, right? Because of and despite are both the same idea. Because of noun, despite noun. All right, ¿dónde está? 7. Okay. I prefer to use a fan when it's hot. My house has central air conditioning. Okay.
Wow.
So what can we say here? How do we say with although?
Although my house has a central air
Although my
conditioner, I
Uh-huh.
prefer to use a
I
fan
prefer
when
to
it's
use
hot.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Although with the fact, although my house has central air conditioning, I prefer to use a fan. And what about despite?
My house has a central air.
Despite my
I
house
have
and central air, I prefer to use a fan.
So I could say despite
Despite my
Despite?
house
Despite my house
has a central air.
has a central air conditioning.
but I wouldn't say I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
say
know.
has. I would say despite my house's
my
central air
house,
conditioning, I prefer to use a fan. Despite the central air conditioning in my house, I prefer to use the fan. All right. Number 8. Ben never sets his alarm. He still gets to work on time.
Wow.
Okay. How can we say it with although?
Although we never said to his alarm,
Although Ben never sets his alarm,
he still gets
he
to
still
work
gets to
on
work
time.
on time.
Exactly.
And in this case, if I was going to use despite, I would use a gerund. Despite never setting his alarm, Ben still gets to work on time. Despite never setting his alarm. That's what I would do with
Despite never setting?
Yeah, I would use a gerund. Despite never setting his alarm, Ben still gets to work on time. All right. Number 9. I play my CDs on my CD player at home. All my music is available online. Okay? So what's the fact and what's the surprise? The fact is the music is online, right?
Yeah.
The surprise is I play my CDs at home. So what can we say? Although
all music is available online.
My music is available online.
I play my CDs on my CD
my
player
CD
at home.
players at home. Okay. All right. Good. I'm gonna show you a little trick. Okay. I'm gonna show you a little trick, and maybe you will like this trick. Maybe you will think this trick is just a confusion, but I'm gonna show you a trick. All right. Can I erase all this stuff?
Yes.
Goodbye. 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 All right. And this actually might be something that in Spanish makes sense. Or maybe not. I don't know my Spanish well enough to know if this will be just crazy or it sounds normal. Changing prepositions to clause connectors. So remember, what's the difference between a preposition and a clause connector? Preposition has a noun, right? And the clause connector has a subject and a verb, right? So for example, I can say, despite my hard work, I lost my job, right? So here we have a noun, hard work. Despite my hard work, I lost my job. Now, but if I use despite plus the fact that, I can change it to a subject and a verb. So all I can say, despite the fact that I worked hard, I lost my job. So this is a much easier thing to do than trying to use a noun, right? So if you get confused about despite, just use the fact that. So despite the fact that I worked hard, I lost my job. In spite of the fact that it was raining, I went to the beach, right? So essentially, this is what I'm saying. Despite the fact that equals although. Or in spite of the fact that equals even though. So when I say the fact that, I can use a clause, a subject and a verb. And this is pretty common in English too, to say the fact that. So especially with I think due to, we say it a lot. Due to the fact that blah, 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 blah. Because of the fact that blah, 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 blah. In spite of the fact that blah, 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 blah. And we say it all the time, to be honest. It's very common. It's probably more common than just despite and a noun to say despite the fact that. So we just add those three words. We add those three words and we change the preposition into a clause connector. So if, just give me a second here. Do you still need to copy that down, or can I go back to the book?
You can go back.
Go back?
Yes.
So for example, I have here, Mrs. Sanchez can't operate her digital camera, although she read the directions. If I have despite the fact that, I don't have to change anything. So what do I say? Mrs. Sanchez can't operate her digital camera despite the fact that she read the directions many times.
Oh, good.
You see, it's exactly the same as although. So, like the next one. Mrs. White's car has a GPS, she gets lost all the time. I could say, despite the fact that Mrs. White's car has a GPS, she gets lost all the time. It's very popular, very common. Despite the fact that, in spite of the fact that, due to the fact that, because of the fact that. People say it all the time. Very common. Okay? So with despite and in spite of, you have those two options. You can say the noun, you can say a gerund, or you can say the fact that. Okay? All right, let's do one more thing before we go home here. Let's look at the next page, and then we'll do a little practice here. Okay, here we have a lot of things And again, we have these people have modern things, but they prefer the old style. They have modern things, but they prefer the old style. This is Mr. Chung, our friend Mr. Chung. He's an old school guy. He has all these modern conveniences, but to be honest, he doesn't like them. He doesn't like these modern conveniences. He prefers to do the old style. So let's see if we can make some sentences. Look at the first example. Even though Mr. Chung has a computer, he prefers to write letters by hand. So even though he has a computer, he prefers to write letters by hand. Okay, good. All right, look at number 2. What do we have here? Nice TV, but he prefers the radio. So what could you say there?
Even though
Even though he has a nice TV,
he
prefers to listen to the radio.
he prefers to listen to his little radio, right? Even though he has a very nice TV, he prefers to listen to his radio. Okay. What about number 3? We got the dishwasher and doing the dishes in the sink. All right. So what can we say?
Even though
he has
a
dishwasher,
nice
dishwasher,
he prefers
to wash the dishes in the sink.
to wash his dishes in the sink, or we could say to wash the dishes by hand.
by hand.
To wash the dishes by hand.
You prefer to wash them by hand?
Yes.
Okay.
I prefer.
You know they're clean then, right?
Yes.
All right. All right. Now the next one is about cleaning the floor, right? He's got a nice vacuum, but what does he prefer? The broom, right?
The broom.
Right. So what can we say?
Even though
he has a nice vacuum,
he has a nice vacuum, he prefers
to use the broom.
He prefers to use the broom.
The broom.
Right. Even though he has a nice vacuum, he prefers to use the broom. Okay. Okay. Number 5, we got the nice tablet computer there. And then we got the old style encyclopedias. So what could we say there?
Even though
he has
a nice computer,
Even though he has a nice tablet computer,
he prefers to
get information from the encyclopedia, right? Even though he has a nice tablet computer, he prefers to get information using the encyclopedia. Okay? And what about picture number 6? What can we say?
Even though he
has a nice cell
phone,
he prefers to use
house phone,
his old landline. His old landline, right? Yeah, I don't know if you can find those phones anymore with the rotary dial. Remember that when you dial that 9, you have to wait.
Yeah.
Right. Julio, you remember those kind of phones? You're a young man. Do you remember those phones?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we used to have one of those.
When you were a kid? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, over in Caltech, they still have it. They still have those.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
The rotary phone?
Yes.
Oh, wow. They are old school there, huh?
Yeah.
They're very modern in some ways, but very traditional in others, huh? All right. Very good. Very good. So, right here we have a classic case of a contrast. He has the modern things, but he prefers the old style. He has the modern things. However, he prefers the old style. Even though he has the new things, he prefers the old things. Right? So again, you can say them 4 different ways, right? I can say it with a conjunction, right? He has a computer, but he prefers to write letters. I could use a clause connector. Although he has a computer, he prefers to write letters. I could use a preposition. Despite having a computer, he prefers to write letters. And I could use a transition. He has a computer. However, he prefers to write letters, right? I've got 4 different options. Okay, no problems?
No problem.
No problem.
No
No
problems.
problem.
Excellent.
Problems.
Okay,
A
let's
little
do-
problem.
Only in the exam.
Not too
In the
much
test.
problem.
Only with the test we have a problem.
Have you started your test already?
No?
Not yet. Armando's finished. Armando can relax the rest of the semester. He's done.
She's done.
He
This
is.
is what I did it because if I don't did it, I haven't done today. It's gonna
Oh,
take me. like-
that's right. You will get it over with, right?
Yeah.
Get it finished quickly. I understand. Okay, let me see here.
Great, good for you, Armando.
Yeah, congratulations. Our
Oh,
first
yeah.
completed test of the semester.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So let me show you real fast a couple of practices with this in the Ventures Arcade, if I can. Coming up here. Okay. All right. Close that for a second. Okay. Let me go to the screen here. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Can everybody see the Ventures Arcade?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We go to level 4 here, and this is chapter 6, clauses of concession. All right. Okay. Oh, a scramble. Okay. Well, even can everybody see the scramble?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Yes.
even though has the capital letter, so we'll put that first. Okay.
Even though.
Okay. So give me a fact and a surprise. First, let's start with the fact. Even though
she has
she
She
has
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 a
full-time
full-time
job.
a
job.
full-time
A
job.
full-time job.
She volunteers.
She volunteers
twice
twice a week.
volunteers
Twice a week.
twice a week. Okay, good. Even though she has a part-time job, she volunteers twice a week. Correct.
They're 35.
All right. Let's see. Let's try this one.
Although.
Although.
What do we have here? We have,
Although.
that's way over there. All right. So although
I don't like microwave.
Even
put-
though
The microwave save time. I don't like them.
microwaves,
I like to use
Microwave
time.
save time.
Microwave save
I
time.
don't like
I don't
To
like
use.
them.
to
Use them.
use them. Oops, I forgot to save time over here. Okay, good. Correct.
good job.
All right. Okay, we got although Vladimir at the beginning here.
Although Vladimir.
He has a digital camera.
He had a digital
Has
camera.
a digital
never
camera.
He never used it.
He never uses it.
he never.
He never uses it. Okay, good. All right. Let's see. Now here we only have the capital letter I don't like. I don't like what?
I don't like to use.
To use
He
email.
likes to use an email, even though he's a
Even though
female.
I use it.
Even
It's too
though
useful.
It is useful.
it
Use it.
is
Useful.
Okay, good. All right, next. Okay, again, even though is the capital letter, so let's start there. Even though
He has a car. He
he
prefers to
car.
walk to work.
He
prefers
prefers
to work.
prefers, oops, prefers
To walk.
walk to work.
Even though he has a car, he prefers to work. To walk.
All right. And what do we got here? We got the capital letter here. They prefer.
They prefer
He prefers
Watch the
to
dishes.
wash
wash.
dishes.
That won't stay. Stay. There we go. They
They
prefer to wash
to
dishes
wash
To
dishes
wash dishes
by
By
hand
hand
by
by
hand.
hand,
Even though they have a
even
dishwasher.
though they
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 have
have a
have
dishwasher.
a
Dishwasher.
dishwasher, right? So you see what happened? We used a subject and a verb on both sides, right? Even though subject verb, comma, subject verb. We always need two subjects and two verbs. That's why it's called a clause connector. All right? Perfect.
Perfect. Cool.
All right? Now, how about this one? Now we're deciding between although and because. All right? Which one do you like? Is it,
Because
I didn't eat lunch
didn't lose.
because
I
or
didn't
although?
lose.
It's
Because
Because,
I didn't eat lunch.
because I wasn't hungry.
I
yeah.
didn't eat
So
lunch
you put
because I wasn't
the
hungry.
because or
Exactly, because it's a cause and effect, right?
Mhm.
Cause and effect. All right. Robin doesn't use her microwave
Because she thinks it's dangerous.
because she thinks
because she thinks it's
Because
dangerous, right? That's the reason, right? The reason.
Yeah.
Grace grows her own vegetables
and because she saved
because
saves
she
money.
it
saves money.
saves money.
They went swimming
Although it was
although it was
so
cloudy.
It's cloudy. Yeah.
Good, you guys are getting it. Charlie uses a broom
although it has a
Although he has a
although he
vacuum
has a
cleaner.
vacuum
vacuum
cleaner.
cleaner.
Has a vacuum cleaner.
Although,
All right.
yes.
The work isn't finished and the deadline is soon. Everyone is calm.
although
Although
Although.
So
we have a fact and a surprise. A fact and a
Mhm.
surprise. All right. Dos más. We didn't go by train. It was faster.
because
it was
Because
fast.
it was faster
faster
than
than
driving.
We didn't go because it was faster.
No.
Oh
Although.
no,
Although it was faster.
Didn't go
Right.
by train.
we didn't go.
We didn't go, although it was faster than driving.
although, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Talia prefers to walk to
To
school.
Although
Although she can
Although
take
she
the
can
bus.
take the bus.
can take the bus.
So,
Bravo.
Score.
All right. Do we feel pretty good about those contrasts?
Also.
Yeah.
So. All right. So in our class, our next class, we're going to look at the contrast and the cause and effect together, and just like we were doing at the end here, deciding which is which and which is better, right? Because now we have 7 of each. We have 7 contrast connectors and 7 cause and effect connectors. So we're going to put all 14 together tomorrow and see if we can tell the difference between them all. All right? Make sense? Yeah,
Makes
why
sense,
not?
teacher.
Why not? Let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. Okay, so I'll see you all tomorrow night. And,
Yes.
and like I said before, your test is in the Schoology program. It's an optional test, remember. You don't have to take it. But if you want to try, give it a try and see what happens. Okay?
okay.
Okay.
Tomorrow, teacher.
All right, we'll see you all tomorrow
See
night.
you guys.
Yes.
So we have
Have a good night,
5
everyone.
more classes. Oh, wait a
Bye,
minute.
Edith.
Wait a minute before you leave. I forgot to tell you, I talked to the summer teacher of level 4, 5, 6, and her class will be from 8:30 to 10 every morning. So I don't know if any of you are interested or you don't have free time at that time, but the class will be from 8:30 to 10. Okay, so think about it and tell me tomorrow if you're interested in registering. Because I have to, if you're interested, I'll give your name to the office and they can put you on the list, okay? So it's 8:30 to 10 o'clock, Monday to Thursday. So it's like this class, Monday to Thursday, but it's in the morning instead of the evening. So if you have time, let me know. If you don't have time, no problem. I'll see you in August. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully at the school, but maybe here again.
Okay.
Maybe here again. Who knows? Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Gracias
Thank
a
you,
todos,
teacher.
everybody.
Good night,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
teacher.
Bye-bye, everyone. Be
Thank you,
safe.
Mr. Bell.
Bye.
Be careful. Don't cause
You
trouble.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
No bricks through windows. Okay?
No.
No. All right. Bye-bye.